Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tabletopped. And today I'm joined by my favorite friends. Why don't we go around? I should probably set the theme this time. Let's see. I'm Nick, your host, and I love a 2D20 system to minimize variance.
Hey, it's your boy Rio, and I love 10 minutes of production time before recording.
I'm Franco, and I love roll under systems because it's player facing, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm Shade, and I just love that you're here.
Oh,
really
I love you all
nice.
too. Okay, let's jump into it. This is something that happened to me, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, hey, this is something that I don't think that, like, everyone kind of talks about, but doesn't actually talk about how it happens in real time, sort of thing. And what I'm talking about is feedback for the GM. So let me give you sort of the scenario, and then I would love to just kind of like talk through both the feedback and also sort of like the process in which I gathered it, so that we can kind of see if we can provide any insights into how to do this either well at a table or whether it's worth doing it at all. So here's the scenario for all of you guys. I've been running a game for about a year. Started out pretty quick. I started with a session 0, kind of collected a bunch of info of what the group wanted to play via Google form. Then I sort of made a setting and then pitched this to them. We all kind of agreed this is what we wanted to do, and we started out. Now, a year later, almost to the day, we started, I think, January 8th last year. And so this happened this week. I was noticing people starting to cancel.
2 days to get back, did you?
What?
2 days? What?
You needed to, because January
From
8th.
January 6th.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. The trains were super booked.
A few years off, but yeah.
Do you think
Let's talk about feedback there. That was crazy.
I mean, it's crazy to think that, like, somebody would have taken the Amtrak. You know?
They're huge train fiends.
The big foamers, yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think
They're
so.
really big on, like, any kind of
Public
public
goods.
good.
They
Exactly,
love
yeah.
public infrastructure.
They're like, let's destroy this public infrastructure so that I can take other public infrastructure. All right,
Hey,
here we go.
You're right, Rio, that was worth it.
Yeah, so as soon as I got back from my totally lawful protest, I was noticing that people at the table were starting to cancel more frequently. And
Just like you're
also,
about to get canceled.
Exactly. And also when we were at the table, I was noticing a lot more like people just being very quiet for long stretches of time, people not like really engaging with the game, people on their computers, stuff like that. So me being me, kind of being a GM who has seen the signs before, was sort of like, something's going on. We got to figure this out. This is a game. I don't want to spend my time playing a bad game. And so I sent out sort of a call. And how I did it was I, on Discord in the group, said, hey, everyone, I would really love to get your feedback. I've been noticing this stuff happening. If you want to continue Holoplane, which is the game name that we're using, just send me either in the chat or privately a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and send me any feedback if you are just like, hey, there's this specific thing that I just want to tweak, to see whether or not I was getting a lot of the same things, right? So that I could kind of synthesize the feedback without them discussing it in a public forum or feeling like they would be putting themselves out there when they maybe felt like it was just them or something. I collected all this feedback, and the main things that I got were, the tone is too dark. We don't like it. We don't want that anymore. We want something lighter, which is totally fair. However, at the beginning, when we set out that thing, one of my questions was, how dark do you want this tone? And people were saying like, hard R, grimdark as fuck. Like, that's what they wanted. Another thing that they were saying was that they didn't feel like they had any agency, or they were feeling railroaded, which is hard because I haven't actually written a story for this. I've just written like plot hooks, and if they want to engage with them, they can, or they don't have to. They can kind of decide what they want to do. So I collected that as well. And then another thing was that they were saying that the rules felt like too loose, which I think is actually fair because I'm just not very proficient in 2024 rules update rules. So I gathered all this stuff and kind of put it out there and said like, hey, we can change these things. Another thing that they said was like, hey, we just kind of want to go to like a rotating DM model. And I was like, great, that's fine. So after that, people started posting in the Discord sort of like, hey, I hope you're not taking this too hard. And that actually was harder to hear than the feedback, because I was like, of course I'm not taking this hard. All of us are responsible for the stuff at the table. And like it like nothing I have done has really done this. But I wanted to make sure that we were still all enjoying this game, because if you guys don't want it, I don't even really like D&D to run. It's not the system that I like to run in.
But they all begged for D&D, right? They were all
They
like,
did
please
at the
run
beginning. They really wanted to play D&D.
Are any of
which
them
is,
like rules lawyery types? Like they're like
so
they know
three
the
of
rules
them
so
are
well.
GMs.
Okay.
Yeah. Three
So,
of them
like,
are
they-
GMs, and then two of them three of them are basically have never played a TTRPG before. So it's kind of split right down the middle. Those
You have
two
6
groups.
players?
Yeah.
That was
it's
your
a
first
lot.
mistake.
I know, right?
It'd be funny if there was actually an overlap between those two categories.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, 3 of them are GM, but they've never.
But they've never played, actually. They're a DM in theory.
They like the theory crap.
But so this is like a great actual example of feedback. And the thing that we've already said is that it's like good to listen to your players. We always advocate for clear communication at the table. So I just kind of wanted to open it up to the forum and say, A, do you think that I did this the right way? What would you suggest to do this better next time? B, I, as a person, started to feel like I was like, oh, I'm feeling this more than I expected to, especially when the kind of sympathy texts started coming in.
Feeling what? Like feeling.
Like, oh, like they think that like I'm doing something wrong. This is like they think that I'm
Because they're like,
responsible.
hey,
in that.
buddy, don't take this hard.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
take this hard, but we're tearing you down right now.
And then the last thing is also I wanted to kind of put this out there as well, because I was talking to another friend in sort of an intellectual way about this, and he was like, never get feedback, just don't do feedback. And I was sort of like, oh, this is like something that is against what we've sort of preached in the thing. And so I wanted to open it up to what you guys thought, and using this specific example, I turn it over to you, the panel that I trust and love. Franco, you have your hand up.
I think your first mistake was giving them that Google form to fill out in the first place, so that they actually got a choice.
So this is a really interesting thing. So
That's I'm kind of joking.
but this is a great thing to maybe start our conversation is. So we have always talked to like how important session zeros are, right? Like let's get everyone on the same page. Let's do this. However, the friend I was talking to that was like, maybe you don't do feedback, also said how important it is to not cater a campaign to what you think your players want, and instead run something that you want, that you think that they would be into.
Okay, I agree with that sentiment, but I disagree with the don't take feedback portion of it.
Yeah.
Because feedback it's a two-way street. It's collaborative storytelling.
Yeah.
You kind of have to open a path for their opinion. In sentence.
Yeah, and I think like that, getting that opinion right, like it's sort of like there. So I've been reading The Elusive Shift by John Peterson, I think his name is, and he's this sort of like researcher. He's researched Dungeons and Dragons play culture, and I think I've brought this up before, how a lot of the conversations we have about the game are conversations that were had when it was first started like 50 years ago. They're like, there's just the same conversations the whole time, all 50 years. And
never learns anything in any aspect.
I mean, I think the main lesson, right, is like everyone's fun is valid, and like everyone's welcome to play however they want. But all those cultures were already different from the beginning. Like the sort of like the wargamer cultures, and then the sci-fi fandom type of culture, like type people, type shit.
Yeah. And the role players, I would say, is another thing.
Yeah, the role
Shift.
players. Yeah, I was talking about that book, and you were talking about. You said something about him talking about
Feedback.
making
player feedback.
And also the idea that like you shouldn't run something that you think your players are like, to cater it to their players. Rather, you make something that you are interested in, and then let them also be interested in it. You know what I mean?
There's this sort of like rule, right, that like the DM is kind of in control of everything and can do whatever they want, and is the last final arbiter on the world. The second rule is that players are welcome to think that's bullshit and leave. And so,
I want to say that I agree with this person's opinion in, like, if you're writing fiction or you're putting a play together, you should make what you want to see and not kind of worry about the idea of an audience.
Yeah.
But in this specific medium, the audience is actually like fellow participants in the thing that's going on. So you do want to cater the experience to things that they would like to do. So it would make no sense, like, I'm going to run this game, and if they don't like it, they'll just have to play it. No, they'll leave. You have to cater to make sure everyone stays invested and continues to contribute and show up.
So I would love to pick your brain on this, Rio, because in this case, I literally was like, I basically was like, okay, I collected all of their character stuff. I created each of them like quests for them, their characters that had something to do with what they had expressed interest in their backstory, and sort of created those hooks in the world so that they would be able to pursue those if they wanted to. I was also, I did follow what they had said that they wanted, which was, a dark fantasy that bordered on like an R rating, and that all of this happened. I pitched them the setting and said, hey, is this something you wanted to play? And then, 8 months in, that sort of shifted. And so it did sort of have that sort of like this thing of like, so like technically, I'm not saying I did everything right, but technically I checked the boxes of trying to include like what they were interested in when I was making the foundations of the campaign. And then still a year later, we ran into some issues. So what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, their opinions just changed over time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the friction was they changed what they wanted and never communicated that change to you.
Correct.
Right. I would say, like, the world has changed.
I think that this is a huge part of it.
I mean, actually, let me caveat that. It hasn't really changed. It's just the badness is more apparent. So I think that there's probably a little bit of fatigue in that. And, I meanwhile have been leaning more into Warhammer all of a sudden because I am like, you know what? I need something that makes a little bit light of fascism for a minute.
Yeah.
So... there is that element. There is the other element of, like, people maybe don't have an opportunity to do certain things. They're like, oh, that would be really fun to try. Mm-hmm. And they need to kind of like find that moment, that stride of like, oh, okay, this maybe isn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. There's a novelty aspect to all of this. And, it's really only going to work so long as the novelty doesn't wear off.
Right. One thing I wanted to sort of, that's a great segue, to kind of go into sort of the tone that because that was one of the things they gave was like the tone, like we feel like it's bleak, we feel very unmotivated because everything is really bad in this world and we feel like we can't fix it. And like that is, that's totally valid. So I wanted to say or ask the question to all of you: when you are in sort of a campaign, when is a good time to kind of broach these matters as players? So like as GMs, we're trying to like create consistency, right? That's one of the things is like we're trying to kind of be the world and facilitate their characters interacting with the world. And so that requires a level of consistency that maybe the GM can like sort of start kind of picking this stuff out of like, oh, I feel like maybe people aren't really enjoying this, but I'm not sure. So when is the best time, or how is the best way for players to express this sort of thing?
I mean, I would say you could do this in two different methods. You could really bring it up anytime as a friend, just like outside of the game and simply say, hey, I've kind of been feeling worn down by this. Can we maybe take a pause and like do something that's just lighthearted and or maybe shift? I mean, you can have that conversation. I think that there's really any time is a good time personally in my mind. Ideally, if I were to try it myself, I would try and go when an arc has ended. And it's like, okay, we just wrapped the curse that was overhanging Waterdeep in our Waterdeep campaign. So that game's all over the place anyway. But you know, whatever. If you guys, I know that there's some curse fatigue, so I want to give, like, this coming Thursday, I'm gonna be doing something silly for you guys. Like, it's I want you to feel like, hey, we can live with some silliness. The other element is that I think you could do this as a player, or I'm sorry, as a character, right? I think that there's a moment for you to sit down as a character and go, hey, Laga, I don't know if you've felt this way, but I feel rather hopeless about this situation. And, like, role play that out.
Yeah.
Because that's going to, one, kind of clue in your GM. Oh, I wonder if I need to think about, like, giving them a win in this moment, just narratively. But it also gives you a chance to grapple with the situation, because
it sounds hella cathartic.
Yeah,
Actually, to do that in character, that sounds cool. That's a player skill issue, you know.
That, I mean, it's an approach, and we don't always feel comfortable. Like, I enjoy actual plays from time to time. I don't always enjoy the idea of, like, I have to act like I'm in an actual play. But that is one of the things that actually is good about actual plays, that at various times that I've played the games throughout my life, we don't always RP stuff, right? Like, we kind of, like, talk through and do the goofs and, you know, whatever. But it's an earnestness to sit and go, my fields have been destroyed. I've lost, you know, like, you know, it is weird to, like, Nick just laughed at me, you know, and this is supposed to be a safe space, Nick.
I think that if any of my characters said, "Oh, my fields have been destroyed," I probably would laugh at them.
Well, but that's the situation that you gave them.
I thought that
raised.
I thought no. So what I think happened was I first heard feels, FEELS.
My fields.
That's that's what I heard too. That's
and then
why
I realized that Shade meant fields as in
my fields. My cattle are stolen. My family left dead.
Hilarious. That would be so funny. I was like, oh, we're doing leet speak?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I mean, that would suck. I would hate it.
Episode title?
Oh, we're doing leet speak? Question mark?
No, my fields have been destroyed.
Oh, yes,
It's been destroyed. But, you know, like, it's hard to do that sometimes, right? Like, I don't know. I've been talking for a long time. The last thing I want to say is, like, I did something sort of out of character with a character once, where it was in the Curse of Strahd campaign. It's a character that I align more mentally with, in, like, this is a pretty lawful good person. I think they're just trying to bring goodness to the world, but it's Curse of Strahd, and this person was aware of, like, what that situation means, and threatened a teenager who had information, like, drew a sword to threaten them. I felt cool about that moment because it's like, yeah, this is a high stress situation, but I also kind of wanted to unpack it as a character in that moment. And I kind of was like, you know what? I don't want to belabor this more than I need to, but it's something that I could have done. Or with Sora in the Argot campaign, like, there's a ton of terrible shit she did, and she was doing it for a greater good, but, you know, I think that would have had some emotional damage on her that would have been good. I mean, her feels were destroyed, and it would have been good to talk about that as a character. But
I think that's a really great. I don't think I've ever really considered that as an option, but I think that's a really interesting.
That's a very good tool. I remember Steven used that in the Argat campaign.
Yeah.
When I think him and Greg's characters were talking to each other about, like, what are we doing here? Like, they had like a little
these people
moment.
are fucking nuts.
Yeah, which I thought was like,
great.
I thought that was very cool. And then the other thing I was thinking, Shade, that's really sweet of you to say that you monopolize so much of the audience's time just now by yourself, when me and Nick do that all the time.
I try and be as silent as I can.
What about you,
we
Rio?
really
Anything?
look for in our fourth podcast host.
Yes. Silence.
Contributed.
He's the nice one.
What about you, Rio?
I thought I was the nice. Oh my.
That's funny.
You're the
That's
nice
really
looking
funny,
one.
actually.
That's really funny.
You're the
Rio.
nice looking one, Rio.
It's a really funny joke.
Thank you, Franco.
Anyway, what do you think, Ria? Any insights other than the stuff that's been said about when players or how players can provide this specific type of feedback around like tonal shifts that doesn't come like at the request of the GM? Would you wait until the GM requests it, or would you say like when it comes up, say it kind of thing?
Well, no, I would just say my feelings as soon as I had them, because that's kind of just how I operate on a general day-to-day level.
Yeah.
All of these social cues and whatnot that you guys are talking about, it just seems odd. if you're not having a good time, tell somebody.
Yeah, I think that
Don't
this is
wait
actually
for a moment. Just be like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, this was a fun game. Thanks for running it. By the by, like that was the third orphan that died on this. Can we maybe like lighten it up a
chill on
little
that.
bit?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, I hard agree with Rio. Like that's like, I think that's what we should do. You know, typically.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, very brave of you to ask for that as well. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. You know, you notice something, you try to solve it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think for me the thing that I've really noticed in this sort of section is, it sucks to be a GM at a table that is slowly not enjoying it anymore. Like it's terrible. It's awful.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been there. You know what I mean? Of like,
I don't know. Have I? What the fuck are you trying to say?
I mean, like, even if it's just one session or two sessions or something where people are feeling off or whatever, it's just hard, you know? It's just, like, not a good feeling. So I think I agree with all of you guys. Like, Shade, I think that those were some really interesting ways to do it in a way that's, like, doesn't actually break the fourth wall, right? Because you're like, I'm using this feeling to express in-game to re-triangulate with everybody else and get everyone on the same page, which is like I'm kind of like frustrated that I hadn't thought about that before.
I mean, and hey, you know what?
Vibes.
I will say you can do it as the
Alley.
DM too, and I would recommend that you do. Like that's
smart. Like
it
an
is
NPC, yeah.
Yeah, dude, like this. That's what I use the Peabodies for all the time. They're the vibe check for you guys. They're like hey, I'm about to kill one of these kids. You good? You okay with this?
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
worried are you?
No, every time.
The Peabodys are a halfling family.
Yeah.
Like it was like they have like 10 kids or something.
I have a
We employ them at the bar.
in,
The teens.
yes, and in the sorry, as an aside, in my homebrew, the other Thursday game, I have the Danvers,
Yeah.
which fills the
that's funny.
yeah fills the same role.
That's really
Peabody and Danvers are cities in Massachusetts for those who don't know the area.
Well, no, it's Peabody, but that's fine.
Well, sure, but also fuck off with that. You know,
how it's pronounced.
It's how it's pronounced when I say it.
Portion of the podcast.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the third area that was like sort of the unified note I got across the board of feeling around player agency, because this is something that
I was very curious about this. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll just say like 2 cents on my perspective, which I will say is like my perspective, right? And they don't have access to the stuff I know about the world. And so it could just be like an informational difference. It could be like an expectational difference. But it kind of shocked me a little bit when they were like, I feel like I have no agency to affect the world, because literally all I have done is say, like, basically I gave like 10 different quest hooks. I threw clocks on some of them to pick, like someone was like, hey, can you do this for me in 5 days kind of thing. And my expectation was, because from our conversations before, that like they would just choose the things that they were interested in, and then they would pursue those, and then the game would naturally develop. And so I didn't write anything, which is not always how I approach things. Like when I did Lakewood and other stuff like that, I sort of had an idea of what the end, like what the end would be, like what the final scenario is. But when they were talking to me, it felt like they expect me to have that in this case. and that they feel very paralyzed because they don't know what to do because there's like a wrong answer is my sort of just like I'm putting a lot of my spin on that. But basically all that they said was I don't feel like I have meaningful impact or say over this world and the story.
If your players aren't doing stuff because they think they might get it wrong, they're not playing the game correctly. That's on them, honestly.
I mean,
I think it's do you have to
I love
communicate
that every time we hit a different note, a different one of you is like, sounds like it's the players.
hold on.
That fucking sounds like us. That's like the whole story of this podcast. Is Nick asked us a question and we're like, sounds like your players are bad. Like, that's not nice.
That's not.
Shane, I'm so interested in what you're about to say because a peek behind the curtain for our listeners, he virtually raised his hand and then grabbed a fucking sword from off screen and brought it to his side. So I'm so excited for whatever's about to happen.
I felt like I needed to hold this. So I would say, okay, I think that this is a difference between the what's the what do you call grimdark? It's a genre. The genre
Grimdark. What do you mean?
and the system. It's the difference between the genre and the system. Now, the system, and I have said this a billion times, is D&D. It's D&D 2024, so we are big goddamn heroes, and we can solve every goddamn problem because we are fucking awesome.
Language.
Grimdark can be done in D&D, but guess what?
Oh.
Even in the most grimdark setting that I can think of for official D&D, which is Curse of Strahd, what do you do in that? What is it that you do? Oh, you fix everything. Everything gets fucking fixed pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, that is the narrative. And unfortunately, that's not what grimdark is. You know, if you really want to lean into grimdark, you are probably going to have lots of losses. It's also just you mentioned that you had clocks. And it's a sandbox. That means you got to have decisions, and you're going to. So to me, and I am 100% just kind of like putting projection. I'm projecting onto this. But if I was your player in that situation, it sounds to me like the world got real dark in real life. I continued to age and get busier and poorer,
and they stay the same age.
As I tried to kind of like struggle my way through this world and keep things afloat, and felt like my decisions were narrowing more and more in real life.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a system that's meant to be my fun, where I can't really affect change because it is a terrible, dark world.
Yeah.
And I am left with a bunch of choices that I have to make. And unfortunately, choosing anything means I don't choose the other things. Yeah. So I become... I mean, that's me, again, projecting, but that's what it sounds like. I don't want to say it's the players...
No, totally.
But I think it's the reality of the world.
That was my assumption too. But Franco, you raised your hand. I want to go to you because I saw you writing some stuff down too.
So my opinion a little bit on the clocks thing. I think this is just like I don't know. This could be just like a tip or something. I don't know. But like with a time box, I usually like to use clocks like that very nebulously, like and sort of roll them randomly as like the thing happens or whatever. But I think maybe in a city campaign that it kind of makes sense to do more like specific time. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. The other thing was I feel like the tone is also set by the players. Because like, you know, me, Rio, and Shade, and enemy of the podcast, Tim, are playing in Rime of the Frost Maiden. And arguably that's a pretty dark, bleak setting. And it's hopeless. It's like completely hopeless. People are sacrificing their neighbors. People are like hoarding food and starving themselves. And it's like this perpetual night. So like, yeah, that's pretty grimdark. Like, I don't know. I mean, my other question was going to be to Nick, like, how grimdark is this grimdark? But I feel like during it, we have had fun because like, this is made. I don't know. Sorry. This is like a thing where it's like, this is made up. Like, I know it's sad. I know it's like whatever, but it's like, what am I gonna, like, I'm not gonna tell a story about like rainbows and unicorns and shit. Like, and like, we're not big damn heroes in that game. We're like little freaks that are just like,
I mean,
like
You want to play Big Damn Heroes or Little Freaks?
I want to play Little Freaks. Yeah.
I do
wanna
love
play
playing Little Freaks. That is pretty fun.
Like it's just like we're just going like I have no expectation that we're going to like bring like destroy winter or whatever. My expectation as the like I'm sure like that's what WotC wants us to do or whatever. But like my expectation from like the setting, like the table setting of the situation is that we're three little freaks who are in hiding in this place, and we need to like keep a low profile, but then we're also kind of curious and like meddlesome, so we're like, we'll solve this murder, sure. Like I feel like that's like a lower stakes situation. So I don't know, Nick, if like there's a higher stakes thing or whatever that's bringing them down. But
before I talk about that, I want to go to Rio because he was wanting to say something.
I think that what you're just getting around to is like the campaign module or the DM sets the setting. The players get to choose the theme music.
Yeah,
I think that's been said somewhere.
That's a fucking
so it's like if they wanted a less grim, darky, realistic game, honestly, the players can choose to just start doing random shit. Because to your point, you and you and Shade, because Nick doesn't love us, are all playing Rime with the Frost Maiden together. Yeah, we're stuck out there. Everything's frozen.
The four of us are never going to play a game together again.
There's no food. We got attacked by bandits. But I chose to put on a shirt that says "I believe" with a picture of Bigfoot on it.
And
because sometimes you got to cut the tension yourselves and not wait on a DM to catch cues that you are sad.
100% agree with this, because I straight up planned on coming in and like, I'm gonna really probably try and kill you guys at various times, like your characters, maybe you guys, I don't know.
Depends on how they're playing.
What the fuck? Oh my God.
I mean, I don't
the
know
time
what
that Shane's like,
future
hey, it
holds.
would be awesome if everybody we're gonna do an outside game and everyone come dressed as your characters. Won't that be fun?
It's gonna be funny, and if you die in the game, you died in real life.
Well, I mean, what's funny too is that like the sort of like the your setting is fascist and then there's fascism happening, but like our setting is cold and it's so fucking cold right now.
It is really cold.
None of our, like the heat isn't keeping up right now in my home.
Not to get off tangent, but I just picked up the DLC of Cult of the Lamb, and it's set in Woolhaven. And why would they release like a blizzard wintry version of a game in the middle of January in New England? I'm not having a great time. The inside game is the same as my outside real life.
I mean,
It's happening every 5 minutes, and all my creatures are freezing.
I mean, I think
Meanwhile,
That's
I've
called
got
marketing
2 heaters on me.
synergy.
I mean, I think it's sort of like what is art for, right? Like that's like the question, right? Like we're just kind of like, what is art for? Is it for escaping, or is it for like dealing with like the realness of your situation in a cathartic way through gameplay or something? All of these can be the same thing, but I think it's just like I'm sorry for your players' lack of imagination around this topic. I hope that they don't hear this and they're like, this guy's a fucking asshole or whatever. I don't know what's going on in your game. I want to know how dark, like in what ways is it crazy dark?
Yeah, what is?
I'm so curious about that. Like what is making them cry at night about your game? Like I'm so curious.
So I think that this is. I think that
I've never been bummed out in a game before. That's kind of why.
Sure.
I don't understand. I can't.
This game, I've sort of talked about it before, is basically these characters are not huge like scions of big houses that are going to change the world. They are at the bottom of society in the Trample, which is the poorest section of the city inside the mountain, and. Got to start somewhere, because but the whole sort of premise is just that at an unspecified time ago, there was this guy called the Martyr Wizard who made a wish, who made it so that iron nullified magic. And after that happened, because it was before kind of a wizard-run authoritarian government, all of the military rose up, and now it's a military-run authoritarian government. And so like that kind of switch happened. And so they are in this kind of world, very poor at the bottom, trying to scratch out a livelihood. The darkness of the setting is that they are basically viewed as commodities by the nobles of the mountain, and so they treat them very badly. People are without food, and sometimes like they went to because they wanted to do one big fight, they went to this Colosseum and bet a ton of money on themselves to try to pay off a bunch of debts. And so they went in and did that, and they ran into this guy and this like teenager who had signed up for the Colosseum fights in the preliminaries to be like, hey, my whole family has gone missing, and I'm using this to try to both advertise that fact, but also trying to win so I can get some money to try to change that. And then they were like, oh, this is really a bummer. Like, we don't want to kill you. You should forfeit. And then when they forfeit, a bunch of displacer beasts came and ate them because that you can't just leave the fight in the Coliseum. One side has to die. And so that's dark, you know?
Wait, so in this Coliseum fight, they like it's to the death no matter what.
Yes, it was to the death.
Oof. Yeah. And then I have another question. How did you decide that this was the opponent?
The opponents, I had a list of opponents that I had created, different people that had gone in for different reasons. Yeah. And I just rolled, and wherever they came up, they were matched up with the people I rolled. And so
Nick, that was the right answer.
It wasn't like I was trying to be like, I'm gonna fucking crush their spirit. It was just like this would have happened anyway. You know what I mean? This is a thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Rito.
First question. Did the Colosseum fight happen when they were still into the Grimdark setting, or did this happen when they were coming out of their Grimdark?
No, that's Grimdark.
Yeah, that was in like probably August. So this was when they were still kind of vibing with the setting.
Grimdark, fine, we're good with it.
Right.
Second question: the player characters knew that the Colosseum match was to the death every match, right?
Yeah, they were like basically only one group gets to keep moving forward in the preliminaries, and also at the final fight, because there was like sort of a Hunger Games style fight at the final one, like a big battle royale. Only one team could win because each team was two people.
Sure.
So that was sort of the rules.
They tricked them into forfeiting so that they could win.
But then they didn't win, I guess.
Well, I think that they were just like hoping, like, hey, like we don't want to kill you. Just forfeit, get out of here, and like.
But they knew it was to the death. They knew that they were going to die. Yeah. So it's like, we don't want to kill you. Forfeit so that the game will kill you and we can move on without our hands.
I think Nick is presenting the players with the actual consequences of violence and not with which is grimdark, right? Which is not like superhero violence. These people are okay to kill and these people aren't. Yeah. It's like hey, violence is like it's a serious thing. It's serious violence.
And also, before the matches, I had given them time if they wanted to use it this way. They could have done whatever they wanted to. Some people went to check out who their opponents might be, so I gave them randomly different people that they had encountered that they found out were their opponents, and that they could sort of optimize themselves over who fought who, kind of thing, if they were to come to that in the battle royale. But then they also, could have used some of that time to go talk to these people and be like, hey, just don't, like, I think you should leave. If they wanted to. But that's not what they chose to do, and I don't fault them for that. Like, I feel like in these cases, though, people feel as though I'm sort of like, hey, I got you. No matter what you did, these people are going to die, which wasn't my intention.
You think that's the railroady thing?
I think that this is why I brought it up, is I feel like it is a good example of what people can consider to be like a very railroaded experience, even though it was sort of randomized. I mean,
and it's exactly what I said. It's, oh, hey, we thought we were doing the big damn heroic thing, but actually the world still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's grim dark. If you can either really adhere to the grimdark aspect, or you can lean into and reward the heroic aspect. And if everyone says at the beginning, I want grimdark. So, I mean, maybe that is also just like a thing
just
here.
A tonal miss,
it's a tonal miss, but I think like it's a difference of definitions. Like, when if I say grimdark, I know what I mean, but if you say grimdark, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's since I've been playing so much or doing so much Warhammer stuff, if someone tells me they like Warhammer, I don't know what that means. I'm worried about what they mean by I like Warhammer. Okay, cool.
That's why
Are you a fascist, or are you like the silly stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I talk about the OSR.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's where I think, you know, again, with the session zero, and you did the right thing, Nick, in asking for that advice on like, hey, where are people feeling? What's up?
Yeah.
I think you have to do that. I think it is good of you to do that. And, you know, if you want to, if you don't feel comfortable asking that question, putting out a form, doing that kind of stuff, that's fine. Just do something different as well as a DM. Yeah. That's just an advice I would say for those who are like, but I'm conflict avoidant and I don't think that I really want that feedback, but I just know things are off and I kind of want to, go ahead, fix stuff. Just like, go ahead and try something different.
Franco? I was going to say yes, for sure. And also, it seems like they basically like changed their minds as they were going along with it, which is totally fine.
I agree, and also like we didn't think that this is going to be where the environment we were living in was going to end up in a year. You know,
I mean,
so,
sure,
like,
but I guess like also it's like what am I trying to say?
And one thing I wanted to sort of add in here, and maybe this will jog your memory, Franco, is that even in the feedback, a couple of people were like, "Hey, I don't want it not to be gritty and dark and all this kind of stuff, but like I kind of want like maybe something more classic, like going and doing like finding dungeons and saving people and that kind of thing." So it could also be like their experience of the world versus the sort of.
I guess that makes sense. Like they like by gritty and grim dark, they mean like I want to go Diablo style down into a dungeon and kill the devil, which is like not actually like grim. Like what they mean is like I want like a power fantasy that's also like dark and metal.
Yeah. I want to be Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. I want to do classic D&D really.
Yeah.
And the other thing was the thing that I was going to say was I think one thing that can be helpful for like sort of removing their kind of like perception that you are railroading them is like being really transparent with all your procedures.
Yes.
Because like you're like, hey, like I have this long list of people that are going to be in this tournament. They're here and I'm going to roll randomly which ones are going to be assigned to you.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, like all of these different procedures. Like if you don't have to tell them exactly what all the roles are and what everybody's on the table.
Can I just tell a yellow flag right here on the play?
Uh-oh. Yeah. Let's have it.
So, yes, you should have all of your NPCs lined up for the Coliseum and have a randomized who messes up with who. But as a DM, save those NPCs and just use them later if they don't put into the Coliseum fight. Don't repeat your work every time you need to do something like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that's a great just general
heads up,
tip.
editor's note.
Yeah.
Just for the audience out there.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Duplicate effort.
That's our GM tip for this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to
keep it.
I mean, it seems like it'd be really fun to like simulate that bracket though.
Yeah.
Like you're just like,
I mean,
I assume that's what you did later because that's the fuck I would have done.
That's what I'm getting ready to go do after we finish this up here in a minute. So
I agree with the tone and everything, and I think that it is sort of like what people want from something versus the genre they're in can be separate, and it's really made me think about in session 0 how I asked some of those questions instead of like a broader genre question could still be on the table, but I think I will say, how much of a power fantasy do you want this to be? You know what I mean?
I actually
that's really smart.
I love that, and also if you want to do a little bit of extra work, put a scenario forward. And just kind of write it out. Like I used to do training stuff for people. Actually, I still do training stuff for people. What am I saying? Anyway, I do training stuff for people throughout my life. And if you, I do all of it, man. If you put a script that is literally like, as annoying as those are, if it's like a gentleman comes up to the cash register and says this, here's some response options that you can do, and then just like kind of fucking choose your own adventure for them. It's extra work, but man, if you keep it tight and short, it is so informative.
Yeah.
Keep
I
it
also
tight,
think
makes it
in
right.
general, something that I've found from this campaign is that like the type of thing you were talking about before, I guess everyone was kind of talking about it being like weird little guys and like a hard world and like scratching out a living. That works way better with a smaller group of people.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's just it's
Yeah.
hard because the tempo will slow down because everyone is trying to negate bad consequences to the best of their ability because they're humans and they want people to be doing okay, you know what I mean? But it does, I don't think it actually works. Rio, you were going to say something, and then I want to kind of tell you guys how I sort of synthesize and put out this information, and then some of the things that I have for final thoughts. But
I have one more thing too, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was gonna say, but I'm gonna say this instead.
Hell yeah.
With all this, like what Grimdark is, I just had a question because I know I recently watched Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel, which is like highly sexualized characters using murder and violence to solve most of their problems, but it's also like a comedy musical.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's grimdark because they're literally in hell dealing with demons using like it's very like murder, violent, heavy? Or would
For
the
me,
undercurrents of other stuff make it not grimdark? And if not, what would you call that genre of hyperviolence, hypersexuality, demonic?
I would say that's pulp.
imagery?
It's
Oh,
Deadpool.
that's
Pulp
for
is
sure.
right, but
Yeah.
but Pulp
Yeah.
evokes other things in my mind too. It's Deadpool. It's silly dark.
Yeah, because grimdark is like raging against the darkness, even though it's going to consume everything. Like,
It's also kind of camp, maybe.
Yeah,
camp
is
is
great.
a great descriptor. Okay, so Franco, you had one more thing, and then I'll kind
Yeah.
of get to how I dealt with it.
What was the? Oh yeah, like having an end to this sort of thing because it's so dark. I think seems like a good idea.
Yeah,
Like I guess kind of what they were, like if it's gonna be that dark, like maybe have like a sort of like end
Like a
or
hopeful
break.
ending?
No, just like a break even. Just be like, okay,
yeah.
we're gonna like take a pause from this, or we're gonna find a resolution somehow, even if it's like an open-ended resolution.
yeah. So this is a great segue. I'll tell you
Great.
sort of the things that I said, the things that I got out of it, and then how I'm going to go forward, and some things that I think were very unhelpful that players kind of put forward, and my
Calling
thoughts
them out.
on. Well, yeah, not calling them out, but just a thing. If you are feeling this at a table, I think that I have a few words. One is that I synthesized all of that information privately. I didn't have the table talking to each other about how they hated this or they loved this, because I don't want them to feel swayed by each other. I just wanted their perspective. And so getting all of that privately was actually, I think, really helpful because it also makes it very easy to see what common threads kind of rise to the top. Because if four separate people are randomly saying the same things, it kind of is like, oh, then that's something that we should change. The other thing is that when I sent out the findings, I broke it into the good, the bad, and the other. So the good that I had from this, and I'm looking at it now, is like people said that they like the characters in world building. They like the weird little mountain city that we have found, and that's great. And then the second thing, the battles feel strategic and interesting. Great. Table dynamics, they all love each other, blah, blah, blah. It's great. The bad stuff, the tone. Folks think that the campaign is too dark and feels like there are no wins for their characters. Lack of agency over the narrative or feeling railroaded. And then rules being inconsistent or loose, which was actually just one person who said that, but I did want to address it as well. And then for the other, anything else that had come up, which was that people wanted to switch to a rotating DM model and to do like other types of stories, which is great. I love that. And then the next thing I did was I put my thoughts so that I had my little chance to sort of, say my thing, which was mostly continuing to extrapolate upon what they had said. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry about the tone. It sounds like that we have shifted too far into dark of grim dark and stuff, and we wanted to do that, which is totally fine. I kind of apologize that people felt a lack of agency, and so I kind of explained how I was trying to run stuff by putting clocks on lots of plot hooks, and then I also gave some of my thoughts, which was the tempo was too slow. We've met 3 times in 4 months. That's too slow. You're not going to remember what's happening. You're not going to be able to really feel like you're building anything there. And then I said, for what's next, I said, hey, sounds like people aren't really into this. Let's wrap it up by May. And then I expressed what I needed, which is I need at least 2 times a month for the next 3 months for me to land the plane in a somewhat satisfying way. And so I think that is like, for if you are a GM trying to facilitate feedback, I think it's good to repeat what you heard in case someone's like, whoa, I don't think that anyone wants that, because that is, I think, just helpful. And then also saying what next steps you're going to take and what you need in order to make the changes that you've heard from them. I think that all of that is things that I did that I think were helpful. Things that as if you are a player out there trying to kind of give feedback in any sort of way, things that I didn't think were helpful. One person was like, I don't connect to my character or any of the other characters. I don't really like it. Like, I just don't feel it. It is on you to sort of find what you want to do in a game. So like a GM can't do that. If you're on your computer checking something, like I actually can't engage you. It is on you to actually invest in the campaign. And I think that this is something that I've changed about how I play recently. Like one of the reasons why I don't like to play online anymore is because I found myself really not investing in campaigns. I was on other tabs, all that kind of stuff. I think that if you're at a table together, the more you can be at that table together, the more fun it is, because all it is a game and you're there to see your friends. So see your friends. And the other thing that I would recommend you do once you give the feedback is not try to soften it in any, like, don't try to be like, hey, I'm sorry if you thought that I was being mean, or I'm sorry if it sounded harsh, or even, hey, don't worry about it. Everyone gets things wrong. All of that, I think, is very unhelpful.
That's a crazy thing to say.
That last one is a little bit.
That's implying that it's wrong. That you like, you know what I mean? Because it's a conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like literally, what I heard was, "Hey, it's always hardest for the first DM in a group to try to nail it. Like it like you're doing a great thing, all this kind of stuff. Don't say that. Don't say that stuff. That's not helpful.
That's not cool.
It's like I don't agree with that. Actually,
yes, exactly.
I don't think that's real. I don't.
Yeah, and it's also way more.
That's crazy.
It's also way more like, hey, because what then the DM can take from that is like, oh, you actually think that it's like my fault in some way, rather than this was a collaborative check-in so that we can just sort of retune the campaign. You know what I mean? So those are my thoughts. But do you guys have any final thoughts about sort of feedback and all that?
I still really am just so curious about what they think railroading is. I mean, I guess what you've described so far doesn't sound like railroading to me.
It 100% is not railroading, but again, as Rio put it perfectly. Used the paralysis. It is consequence, and and unfortunately, so a great example of this is the modern fantasy video game RPG video game.
Yeah,
there aren't clocks on that stuff.
Yeah.
And there really weren't in the past necessarily either. I mean, there kind of were, but like video games, if you go play Skyrim, which I know is like 15 years old, Jesus Christ, at this point, but
about time.
but if you go play Skyrim, dude, you could do anything, anytime, all the time, forever. Like you just can fill up that quest book. Okay, cool. That's great. But if I at all lose the chance to do any of this stuff, or actually a similar game, I played Outer Worlds 2, which is by Obsidian, which did New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. Mm-hmm. I know it's a slightly different team. Don't at me. You wouldn't be able to anyway. But anyway,
I don't even know how to reach him.
It's true. I just kind of show up. But you there was a moment in that game which wasn't railroading, but it was the exact reason why sometimes I like to read ahead when I'm playing those kinds of games, because I have a very particular narrative that I want to play out, sometimes. And it was, I'll spoil it because no one's going to play it. But there was a conflict between a group that was a refugee group, and they wanted to expand their housing situation into this one area, and this other group that was able to kind of predict the future. They didn't really have the specifics around it, but they were like, you can't expand in that area because something bad is going to happen and a bunch of people are going to die if you do this. And if you talk through and be the mediator, of course you should side with the refugees, 100%. The other people are just like insane. But guess what? If you do that, you eventually find out that a bunch of people die because a rock slide happens and like these people all die and it sucks.
Rocks fall, you all die.
Correct. It literally does happen. And then and that feels like, well, fuck, my agency is robbed because I made quote unquote the wrong choice.
Right.
But I made a choice, and so my agency's not gone, but it just feels bad.
Yeah. I think this is huge, and I think that you've nailed it 100% because, like, and it made them scared too. Going back to the clocks thing, like there was this giant, like basically deity of the mountain. That's
they
like
know it's not real, right?
Hey man, it still feels bad.
Feels real.
Sorry, I'm continuing to solidify myself as the villain of the podcast.
But like there's this like kind of deity in the mountain that has kind of chosen one of them to kind of complete things for the mountain that the mountain can't do for some reason that they don't know. The mountain is always like, hey, I actually helped you out in this case where I send a bunch of my bugs to devour these bad people for you. I need you to pay that back within a week. And then and I have something for you, so come see me and I'll send you out and do that. And so that's the hook with a plot with a clock on it. However, what I think that also inspires is if I let any of these clocks run out, then I am doing, quote unquote, like you said, Shade, the wrong thing.
Correct.
I am doing the narrative wrong. And I think it is video games. When people say Baldur's Gate at a table, for me, it's now like, oh shit, that's bad. You've been trained to not be, sort of expansive in your idea of like how you want to interact with a story. You're trying to find the most optimal way through something. However, I think that, Franco, what you said earlier is the way I'm going to do it in the future. I still think clocks are super important. It's good to have time progress and that things develop in making a real lively world. But maybe you don't tell your characters like 5 days. You know what I mean?
I think the sort of like the Apocalypse World style thing where it's like you ignored this for this amount of time. Now this is the status quo.
That's a good one.
Like the sort of the status quo evolving as they ignore the thing, I think is the way to kind of do that.
And you can also
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, you were trying to say something earlier.
And a really good time clock. If you ever played Cyberpunk 2077, you're literally on a clock. Your character is dying, but you still get to play the game however you want to and do whatever you want because it does a really good job of making your time is limited without limiting your time.
Yeah.
And I think if you're doing a D&D game, you have like this kind of party, you really want to try to do that. The clocks are limiting your time, but your time's not really that limited.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
The
a
illusion.
balancing act, but it's possible to do it in different kind of ways.
And if I can like peek behind the hood a little bit of what the clock meant to me. Whoa. Is like, so there are these rat people. There's a whole lore thing that they haven't figured it out yet. So, but
Skaven?
There's some. Sorry, yeah, there was some Skaven down there, and they were protecting this specific ley line that had been pinned so that the mana of the mountain wasn't flowing right, and they had been doing this for a long time, and so the mountain was like, go clear all of those motherfuckers out and free this ley line because that's good for the mountain. If they didn't do that, in fact, the status quo would have been enforced. They just wouldn't have been able to get these crazy powers from the mountain anymore. That was like in my mind, sort of the big thing is that the mountain's not going to trust you again because you don't sort of like go through with your promises. Maybe you can go and convince him somehow, but he's also a big swarm of bugs, so maybe that would be dangerous. Like I didn't have it be like the bugs come out, everyone dies. Like that's just not what that clock means, which I think also maybe a GM at the start of a campaign or during a campaign even should maybe express in some way of like, hey, you have this amount of time to do this. It's not the end of the world if you don't do this, remember. It's just something that is happening. You know, it's just stuff that's happening in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
A better way to do this is like, hey, the mountain wants you to do this now.
Right.
But not now. Without, because I think the 7 days is what like might have tricked the audience into going, oh, we have 7 days or we fail, instead of we need to do this or the mountain will be mad at us.
Yeah, and I think that's what Franco was sort of alluding to as well, about keeping it nebulous. Like, have it be maybe in your mind it's like 7 days. That's the amount of time that the mountain's going to give them until they revoke their power. However, you just say, like, the mountain, like you said, Rio, the mountain wants you to go now. So decide if you want to do that or not.
Just the next time they finish one adventure, you roll randomly to see which of the other sort of hooks start deteriorating until they can get to them. And then that can lead to other types of hooks as well.
Yeah, totally. And that's the other thing that I think that players who aren't really steeped in game design also maybe don't realize, is that if quest hooks pass, they're probably going to show up again in a different form. Like, they have been ignoring this idea that people have been kidnapped out of this community for the last like month, and they're being kidnapped in pretty large numbers. Like, people are disappearing from these families, and like whole families are gone. And they haven't really dug into why. But that clock is there. It's happening. Something is happening, and it's not great. But
that seems to happen in Waterdeep too. How Shade runs it.
Yeah.
Things keep falling apart.
Shit's going on, but like,
it's a big place. It's a city.
But the thing is, you can always return to the problem. Like, cold cases exist.
Everyone, final thoughts. Just a couple sentences if you have anything left. If not, I'm going to close this shit down. Anyone have any final thing they want to say?
I'm really impressed by your ability to take in feedback like that. I think that's very impressive.
Thanks, Franco. Anyone else?
I will echo that sentiment. Great work doing that. You know, your group sounds lovely, and they are very intelligent people, and they know how to play the game.
Yeah, that was a hilarious joke. It's
all just for fun.
It's just a podcast. This is just a character I play on this podcast. I don't really think those things.
And you can cut this little section out and put it at the beginning, and then like fade into the episode.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a cold open. Rio, anything from you?
Yeah, I would say you just gotta, if you're a player or a DM, just learn how to express yourself. Whatever, figure out what works for you, and then do that. Stop waiting.
Just say something. Ultimately, the biggest thing I learned is, like, it sucks to be at a table where, like, even a couple of people are unhappy with stuff. It actually is a game that we're all playing together. Yep. So, like, express yourself. We want to make it fun. The GM is not going to be mad at you.
And I know no one ever says this, but communication is really important.
All right, I'm closing this shit down. We're being reductive.
When it comes to role play, baby, consent is king.
All right.
Say something.
Thank you.
I'm giving up on you.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to Tabletopped. If you want to support us, then you can go to patreon.com/tabletopped. You can also find our website, tabletopppod.com, to send us in any messages, love letters, new topics you want to have us talk about, guests that you want us to search out. Any of that is fine. We read them all. Send it to us. And I did promise last episode that we were going to get friend of the pod, Mac, and perhaps another guest to come on and talk about Arkham Horror, the new ttrpg system. That's still in the works. It's just scheduling is hard, and we'll do that soon. All right, everyone. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.